The American dream of financial independence is alive and it is doing well. And you can have it. All you have to do is one thing, and you can attain whatever that dream is. Whatever that American dream looks like for you, all you have to do is decide to learn how to go get it. Now, before we go and talk about how to learn how to go get it, I want to ask you a question. When I said, are you a hard worker, and you nodded your head no, awesome. If you don't have education and you nodded your head no, awesome. Because I'm here to tell you that being a hard worker and having lots of education is a lie. Ask yourself, who is the person who has the most education that works the hardest around you right now, and how much wealth do they actually have? How wealthy is the hardest worker you know? How wealthy is the most educated person you know? I was raised to go to college. Did I go to college? Sort of. My parents knew that the only way I would be successful is if they sent me to college. They knew it. But now times have turned, and that is a lie. If working hard and getting lots of education was the way to become wealthy, then why are school teachers not wealthy? Why is not the librarian who has access to all the books, why are they not wealthy? Why is the mom and the dad who's working 2 jobs to make ends meet, why are they not wealthy? Why is the construction worker who works from sun up to sun down, why is he not wealthy? Because hard work and getting lots of education doesn't work. You have to work smart. Now, before I keep going, I want to define what working smart actually means. Because last thing I want you to do is go and ask somebody who's broke, who isn't wealthy, who isn't a multimillionaire, and ask them how to work smart. In order to work smart, you need 1, income. You need to focus on something that is bringing in you income. 2, that same thing needs to offer you tax breaks. 3, that same asset needs to offer you savings. So in order to work smart, it needs to produce you income, save you on taxes, and create a checking account for you. Now, checking account isn't what you're thinking. I'm not saying go to the bank and open up a checking account. What I am talking about is leveraging against inflation. Now, reference that, let's go ahead and bring in 2 sore subjects that is really going to probably just turn you away right now, but we're just going to open up the floor because we're friends, are we not? Now, why you're probably not wealthy now is most likely because taxes. Did you know that you're probably taxed at a higher than 51% tax rate? You're like, no, Eric, I'm turning this video off right now because you don't know what you're talking about. Because I'm in the 22% tax bracket. And you're right, you're in the income 22% tax bracket. But when you go and sell something, you have to pay sales tax on that same money. So you receive that money as in your bank account, and that got taxed 22%. Now you're left with 78 cents. And then you go and buy something and you're taxed again. And then if you keep something and it produces equity and you sell it for a profit, you're taxed again. That's called capital gains tax. Let's not even talk about death tax. Whenever you pass away, you're taxed on that too. Whether you want to admit it or not, taxes is costing you 51% of every dollar you make. It is costing you $6 of every $10 you make. It is costing you $60 of every $100 you make. And it is costing you $600 of every $1,000 you make. And it will cost you $60,000 of every $100,000 you make. Now, there's 3 classes of citizens. You have poor, middle, and wealthy. Which one do you think they're going to tax first? Do you think they're going to tax the poor? Honest answer. Let me know in the comments, are they going to tax the poor? What good would it do to tax someone who already doesn't have any money? They're not going to tax the poor. Let me ask you another question. Who is creating the tax laws and the taxes that everybody is paying? Is it the poor, middle, or wealthy? Who is creating those laws? You know it, the wealthy. So do you think they're going to tax the wealthy more? Do you think the wealthy would choose to get taxed more? No. It's going to land right smack dab in the middle on the middle class And you, my friend, are most likely middle class if you're watching this training and you are paying the brunt of all taxes because you have not been educated on how to pay less taxes. You can go get a book right now. It's Tom Wheelwright wrote this book. It's called Tax-Free Wealth. It's an amazing book. Listen to the audio, buy the real book, and learn that the tax code, only the very first part of it was actually written on how to pay taxes. The rest of it, the majority of it, was actually written on how to not pay taxes. Interesting fact. Now, you're like, hey, Eric, I showed up to this and I'm watching this video because I want to learn something about real estate. I get it. And I got you. All right, we're going to cover something in the next 5 seconds that's really going to blow your mind, and it's going to change the entire game for you. And after you realize this, you will never, ever look at investing the same way. I guarantee that. Let's talk about inflation. For one, I want to verify. You let me know, do you agree with me that they will tax the middle class, right? As long as we're on the same page on that, we can move on. So you have a choice now. Either you become poor or become wealthy if you want to pay less tax. Are we clear? Yeah? Awesome. All right. I know that's not fun, but that's just the cold hard truth, guys. And I'm here for you. We're going to battle this out together. I'm going to arm you with exactly what you need to do. Inflation. Inflation. Is that good or is that bad? Did you know that the year of 2022, inflation hit 8%? On average, inflation is 3 to 5%. What causes inflation? You ever heard of a term called quantitative easing? Did you know that the Federal Reserve meets 8 times a year in order to turn a knob where they increase the money supply or decrease the money supply? That's quantitative easing. Whenever you hear the feds are meeting to lower interest rates, hopefully they're going to drop a half a point. That's what they're talking about. However, the damage is already done. See, inflation is funny. Most people don't realize its effects until 6 months or later. Whatever's happening right now, me and you, we don't feel it. We feel it later, after it's too late. Now, inflation, I'm going to show you how you can leverage inflation, and inflation will change your entire world. I'm going to show you how you can make more money by knowing this one secret about inflation than if you won the lottery itself. Are you ready for this? All right, in order for me to get this out, and in order for you to understand it, maybe you already understand, but in order for you to really take it in, let's first understand that inflation is neither good or bad. Inflation on milk. Milk goes up in cost, but the value of the milk stays the same. It's the same gallon, it's the same carton of milk. It is just filled up, and the milk costs more. That's inflation. If we reverse this, it is also understood as buying power, meaning that $10 today will buy something that's worth $10 today. But tomorrow, that same $10 will buy less. Buying power. Now, you can talk to your grandpa and your grandma, and they might talk about, back in their day where they could buy a drink or a soft pop or a pop or whatever they call it for like a dime or a nickel, right? Today, that same Coke is like $2 or $3. I don't drink Coke, but I'm guessing it's around $2 or $3. Now, do you know what the one thing that inflation never touches is that you can leverage? The one thing that inflation doesn't care if it exists or if it doesn't, guess. Do you know? Let me know in the comments if you know. Let me know in the comments if you knew the answer before I told you. Debt. See, the wealthy has a secret. The wealthy understands debt. Because I can go to the bank right now, today, and I can borrow $100,000. And the bank is going to lock in an interest rate of 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 100%, whatever they choose. And that interest rate, though, is not going to change for the next 20, 30 years, whatever that term is. Unless you get, some of these other different loans. Now, all loans are obviously not like that, but we're talking about just fixed interest rate loans that goes out for a 20-year term or a 30-year term, okay? So if you go get one of these loans, it's going to be locked in. That means you know exactly what to do. Now, that loan will only be given to you if it is leveraged against an asset that goes up in value. Did you understand what I just said? The bank, when they lend on that asset, they're going to look at it and they're going to make sure that that asset does not become worth less than what they're lending on it. So if I take out a $100,000 loan from the bank's going to look at that property, because we're talking about real estate here, and they're going to say there is no way that that property can go down below what we're lending of that $100,000. So that property has to be worth $150,000, $200,000, $300,000. You following me? So if that is true, well, inflation happens. So if I have a $100,000 debt on a $100,000 property and I'm break even, year one, what do I owe? What is my net worth? What's zero? Year two, if inflation goes up 3, 4, 5%, what is my new net worth? I did nothing. I didn't make a payment. I didn't do anything. The only thing I did was bought the property with somebody else's money. And then I waited. I waited for inflation to happen. And now I am $3,000, $5,000 richer. This is the power of leveraging inflation. The only time that is bad to buy assets is tomorrow. That's the worst time you can buy them. You need to buy them today or yesterday. Yesterday is the best time. Today is the next best time. Speed. You always heard this saying where it says, money loves speed. Why? Compound interest. Compounding effect is so powerful. Now, what you want to do is understand the power of compound interest, the power of compounding equity. So let's go ahead and take this in a step deeper. That same asset, I can put someone else in who will pay off the bank for me. And therefore, not only is inflation making me worth more, but also that other person is paying off my debt. So now I get equity and this margin starts to increase over time. Now, before we keep going, I want to introduce one more thing to you, and it's 2 ways to make money. And you got to understand this. All right, there's 2 ways to make money. One is active income. 2, passive income. Now, you probably heard these terms before, but I'm about to bring a new insight to it that you've never heard of before. Active income, you are trading your time for money. Passive income is where you're making your money work for you. The key is to know how to do both and make both work for you. Now, when we talk about active income, right now, you most likely have a job. You most likely have a job where you go to work every day and you're working for someone else. Now, because you're working for someone else, they are making money with your time. That's passive for them. It's active for you. The question is, what are you doing with those funds, with your paycheck as it comes in? Are you making good choices? Are you looking on how to leverage inflation? Because inflation is going to happen whether you want it to or not. So you might as well take advantage of it. Do you agree? Absolutely. Of course you do, right? Are you getting this? So if you going to work is active income and then you buying a property is passive income, then how do you leverage both of them? Well, passive income, did you know that now you get tax breaks? Did you know that now it creates a savings for you? Did you know now that it is creating income for you? The issue is that a lot of people run into, they think that they can live off of this. No, this is an investment. You don't live off of your investment, you multiply your investment. You live off of your active. Let me explain. So what happens whenever people first jump into real estate is they start to realize that they get a property and they're like, ooh, I'm not making any money on this property. Like, no, you're not collecting monthly income that you're used to. You're making a lot of money on that property. Even if you're only collecting $25 a month clear net income, right? There's gross, which is like all of it, your expenses and your profits combined. And then there's net, which is only your profit, okay? If you're only collecting a $25 check every month, that is amazing because you're getting tax breaks that is going to like wipe out that $25, okay? You're not going to pay taxes on it. So for instance, if you go out and you learn how to make $10,000 active, then you go and put a $10,000 kitchen in your new property, and then your new property rents out for $400 more a month. You do not pay taxes on that $10,000 that you just put into that property. But also, you just increased your cash flow every month. That is crazy, right? Now just think about that. That $10K, you would have originally paid 51% tax. Since it's an investment, no, you're not paying all that now. All right, you're still paying taxes on it, but you're not paying all of that. All right, You just lowered your tax burden by a lot. And it gets a little bit more complicated, so I don't want to mislead you, right? Like we can go into depreciation and appreciation and all those things when it comes to taxes, but like that's not what this is. I just want to broaden your horizon and arm you with some basic knowledge of income. Because earlier when I asked you, are you a hard worker? Earlier when I asked you, do you have education? Do they have our best interest at heart? Does the school system have our best interest at heart? You probably took algebra. When's the last time that you used algebra to make money? Never. If the school system had our best interest in heart, why did they not teach us the rule of 72? Why did they not teach us the 2 ways to make money? Now, let me talk a little bit about missing opportunity. And this comes back to speed. Speed and mindset. When I was in Vegas, I was an air traffic controller in the United States Air Force. I was an airman. And while I was there, I was young. I was starting out in life. I didn't know what I didn't know. While I was there, this was 2010 to 2016. And obviously 2008, 2009 was the last big real estate crash we had, yeah? Well, while I was there, I was 22 hours away from home, newlywed, raising a new family, and all my friends, they did one thing that I didn't. Did I want to do it? Absolutely. But my wife told me no. My mom and dad told me no. Everybody that was close to me said it was a bad idea. You know what they did that I didn't? A brand new subdivisions. Well, actually, subdivisions was being built everywhere back then. But a brand new subdivision was being built. 5 of my closest friends bought in that brand new subdivision, a brand new home, and then they lived in it for 3 to 4 years. And in around 2015 and 2016, each one of my friends sold that property for over $100,000 profit. Each one. They each bought 5 separate homes. Each one of them made no less than $100,000 profit. That is crazy. That is called opportunity cost. Opportunity cost because I had the wrong people telling me the wrong information and I was listening to broke people. Do not listen to broke people. If they do not have the life that you desire, then why are you listening to them anyway? If they don't have freedom of choice, if they don't have freedom of time, if they don't have what you desire, why are you seeking their advice? If you are sick, do you go to the vet? No, the vet works on dogs. You are a human. You go to the doctor. Do not seek counsel from broke people. Good news is though, so I didn't buy a property and I'm lost out on all of that money I could have made. Every one of my 5 friends made over 100K. I'm pretty sure I could have made it over 100K as well on a 3 to 4 year investment. Following me? Good news is, while I was in there, they taught me about TSP, Thrift Savings Plan, which is a form of 401k for the government. I kept that for 14 years and it grew to 106,000. You heard that right. So a 3 to 4 year investment profited over $100,000. And then you have a 14 year investment that profited $106,000. Crazy, right? Do not take advice from broke people. In 2017, I started my real estate investing career. I was at my airport here in Greensboro, North Carolina. I walked across the main road into the Marriott Hotel where a real estate conference was happening. I immediately dropped $55,000 investment on a program that promised to show me the world, promised to make back all of this money that I just spent. I put $55,000 on a credit card of money that I did not have. It took over 2 years for me to get that money back. Since then, I've absolutely made like 20x that plus. But my point with that is that's a big ticket, guys. That's a huge ticket. You don't have to pay a big ticket like that in order to get started. There's a better way. Now, today, I've got a portfolio that's bringing in my family over 50K a month, and it will continue to grow. But it was through a lot of trial and errors. It was through going through a minefield and really honing in the path. That $55,000 investment, it gave me one thing. It gave me a bunch of videos that talked at me. It gave me some weird coaching calls that I guess soothed my feelings, but it was always missing the vehicle. You know, pretty much what they gave me was they gave me the end goal, right, where I wanted to go, and then they gave me no way to get there. They didn't give me the vehicle that I needed to drive. They didn't give me the map that I needed to get there. Very important, guys, for you to know where you're going. Speaking of that, so let's jump into your vivid vision. Right now, with a little bit of information that I just gave you, and this doesn't even scratch the surface. I want you to understand the power of inflation. I want you to understand the power of understanding active income, passive income, and how to make it work for you. I want you to understand that working hard does not work. I'm a very hard worker. My wife is a very hard worker. However, until we learned how to work smart, we were broke. So I want you to take a moment and I want you to ask yourself, what and where are you in 5 years? What does your life look like in 5 years? What home are you in? What does your front door look like? What does your yard look like? What does your bank account look like? What does your relationships look like? What does your family look like? If you have children, what do they look like? What are they saying about you? Are they saying, well, this person starts a bunch of stuff and never finishes? Or are they saying, this person started something big 5 years ago, and I am so thankful and grateful that they changed my life? I was an air traffic controller for 13 years. All right, not the guy that waves the wands, like the guy that has a mic and a headset and he's talking to planes either out the window or on a radar screen, right? Pushing 10, the movie Pushing 10 with Billy Bob Thornton. You check it out. It's a good movie. That was me for 13 years. And when I got on this path, everyone at my facility, I felt like hated my guts. I'm just gonna be honest with you. This was literally my feeling. I felt like every one of them were out to get me. And there's a lot of situations and a lot of things where they were. And I remember they always gave me a hard time because on their breaks, they're scrolling on their phone, looking at Facebook, scrolling on their phone, looking at TikTok. And I was on my computer or on my phone talking to sellers and doing deals and making money. And I received so much hate, it was unbelievable. Things like they were going to the manager, the facility manager, and talking about how I'm doing work on my computer on my own breaks whenever it's absolutely allowed. It was very hard. The manager, obviously, he's like, hey man, I applaud you. Great job. I wish I did that at your age. I share that with you because you are going to receive hate. Your life will not change until you remove all of the broke people out of it. That's your first step. You have to remove all of the broke people out of your life. The hardest part is if you are married and your spouse isn't on board, that's going to be the most difficult journey of your life. But I challenge you to never quit. I challenge you to continue to push forward because it's worth it. When I was at air traffic control, I was in the tower and I remember this like it was yesterday. It was a slow day. I had a book in my hand. I had no planes, right? And I'm reading a book. Behind me was an older controller, and the older controller nudged me. He's like, what are you reading? And I'm like, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And he giggled and he laughed. He's like, oh yeah, that's one of them personal development or self-development books. Yeah, you need that. And he was also reading a book, and he was reading Tom Clancy. I can still see a cover. And I remember just this feeling of just being the oddball out, just like it just engulfed me. And all I had was this feeling in myself, be like, I won't be here forever, you will. I walked out of that facility in 2022, financially free, financial abundance, and never looked back. My real estate portfolio makes more money than he does in a year. So I challenge you because it's worth it. Now, I'm going to share with you in the next video what I call the wealth formula. And if you follow this formula, you too will become financially free. All you have to do is follow the steps. I'm going to give you the roadmap. But before I do, I want to share with you something that I wrote October 2023. This is my personal definite chief aim. Let me share it with you now. Back in October, on the 16th of 2023, I wrote my definite chief aim out. And I had a lot weighing on my heart at the time. And I also received a lot of friends reaching out to me, talking about how they also invested 30, 40K. And if they don't make money this month, then they're going to have to file for bankruptcy. It hit me with what's going on in the market and what's going on in the real estate world. I just want to share this with you. It says, I, Eric Howell, will directly impact 100,000 families by providing the vehicle, the training, the community that will take each one of these families to $10,000 plus of passive income a month, allowing them to become free of the grips of the government in order to impact their children's principles, values, beliefs, and standards. By facilitating step-by-step path for families to learn how to start a business, improve their credit, manage their books, repair their mindset, generate leads, close deals, process transactions, sell deals, build a team, pay less taxes, build wealth, protect their wealth, and raise capital. With a vehicle so strong that my community will have no choice but to take action and win, I will create the greatest real estate mastermind ever by bringing families together to be empowered together. Through Empowered Homefront, I will be forced to improve my skills, family, and knowledge in order to teach the Empowered Homefront community. Eric Howell. I share that with you because that's the next step you need to do. I would like for you to take this time, stop the video, end it, and before you go into the next one, write down what is your definite chief aim. I want you to download the free gift that we have attached here to help you write your definite chief aim. I want you to get a clear vision, because without a vision, without a mission, you will be lost, and I don't want that for you. I just shared with you mine, and here we are 1 year later, and you have an opportunity to be a part of it. If you write down nothing less than, I want to stop living paycheck to paycheck. If you write down nothing less than, I want to make $10,000 in passive income a month, perfect. If you write down nothing less than, I want to get my health back, perfect. If you write down nothing less than, I just want to be closer to my spouse or my children, perfect. Bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.